All right. Mike, can you see this presentation here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, like I said, Mike, even if it's just me and you, it's all good. I'll give this presentation. So, how to make $1,000 to $10,000 a month in the DNA testing business. This is going to be a great one. Okay. So, who am I? My name is Royal. I'm the co-owner of Assurance DNA alongside my lovely wife here. We're currently out in West Texas, way out in the desert. I'm military. That's why I'm out in West Texas. I'm stationed out there. And yeah, that's me. I co-founded Assurance DNA with my wife in December 2020. My mom has been in the business of paternity testing for 20 years. So I didn't, originally want to start my own paternity testing business. But after we were not able to buy more mobile homes, like mobile home properties, with the money that we had set aside, I decided that we would get into something more low cost and, quite frankly, have decent profit margins, and that's paternity testing. So really, literally only because I saw my mom do it for years, that's what made me want to get into it. So I created Paternity University in September 2021 after being in business a little bit less than a year to show people how to get into this business because there was nothing. All right. Okay. So, Mike, feel free to tell me what's your why? Why do you want to get into this business, and what would you do with a little bit of extra money a month?
I'm looking for a side hustle to supplement the work that I do. I'm a government contractor. I'm ex-Navy. I'm not sure you're Army.
I'm Army. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So I'm looking to diversify income. I'm looking for something that allows me to not necessarily trade time for money, as my consulting gig is, and to continue, like I said, to diversify between real estate investing, and I'm looking for a third. I saw what you posted online. It seemed interesting. Watched one of your previous onboardings, your podcast seminar that you've done similar to this, and was kind of intrigued by it. So yeah, I'm interested in finding out a little bit more and going from there.
Okay, perfect. What city are you located in?
I split time between Northern California and Southwest Houston.
Huh.
So I'm a Texan now. I've made the I've made the extradition. Like my fellow Californians, to get out of this.
So you're California, they're Texas. That's what they complain about, the Texans.
Well, yeah, but I'm a right thinking Texan, so.
Yeah, okay. Got you. Yeah. Okay, great. Cool, man. I appreciate you you dialing in. I truly do.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So why paternity testing? All right. So paternity tests are always needed. They'll never go away. And quite frankly, they'll only increase as the population grows. People are always having children or have had a child or children, and they're going to have questions. It's just natural. And so your job is just to be there to assist them in getting the answers they need. It's not hard to stand out from the competition. I say a good amount of your competition that does paternity testing, they don't answer their phones to even start off with. So all you really have to do is really just answer the phone. It's scalable. So you can grow your business to where you start off maybe in Northern California or in Texas, but you can grow it and scale it to where you can do paternity tests nationwide. It just depends on your marketing budget and how far you want to go and your systems. You can gross between $200 and $1,800 per test. Definitely possible. And you can run your business from anywhere. I was on my honeymoon last October. And I did a paternity test and made, gross $1,600 and netted about $450 or so. And all I did was answer the phone and send 2 emails, So yeah, you don't have to be in Texas or wherever to run it. All right. So pretty cool business. Okay. So what is DNA paternity testing? So paternity testing determines the biological relationship between an alleged father and child. So paternity, pater, there you go, root word, father. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's other ways to determine a DNA relationship, such as grandparentage, siblingship, or aunt-uncle testing. That's definitely possible. So we do that too, DNA relationship. Now, a lot of people think that DNA testing is just the 23andMe testing, like genetic tree. Mm-hmm. There's different levels of DNA testing. You can do DNA testing for health, DNA testing for your genetic tree, and then DNA paternity or relationship testing. That's the focus of what you'd be doing, is paternity or relationship testing. Okay. All right. So 1 in 3 men who get a paternity test are not the father.
Shocker.
Who get a paternity test. You say what?
Shocker.
Shocker, yeah. Right? Yeah, shocker. All right. 1 in 3, and in my experience in operating my business, it's about 1 in 5.
Okay.
Who get a paternity test are not the father. That link is directly from DNA Diagnostic Center. They're the largest accredited DNA laboratory in the world. And so that article, however, is from 2006. There has not been newer data since. But in my experience, it's 1 in 5. 1 in 5. So yeah, 80% are, but that 20% that aren't, a little rough sometimes. Okay. So why do people want to get paternity tests? Sometimes they just want to know. They just want to know. They got questions. They want to know. Man or woman, they just want to know. Or for legal reasons. So child custody, child support, inheritance, immigration, Social Security benefits, anything dealing with an attorney or court, they get them. And sometimes the court orders them to get paternity tests to proceed with a specific situation. Okay. So there's peace of mind reasons and legal reasons. Those are the 2 reasons why people get paternity tests. All right. So, and by the way, if you have any questions, man, feel free to ask me.
I'm kind of writing everything down here as you go along. I don't want to interrupt
my flow. Okay, gotcha.
Your thing, and so I do have a bunch of questions though afterwards. But go ahead. We'll kind of go through, because I'm taking notes off of the slides as well. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely. So what's the difference between a collector and an agency owner? So you may have seen, depending on my tweets, you may have seen me tweet out, hey, this is where you can learn how to be a DNA collector. And then this is where you can learn how to start your own DNA agency. So there's a difference. So a collector is somebody, okay, I'll say it this way. An agency owner is a corporate partner or reseller or distributor of DNA testing services from a laboratory. So a laboratory they're the people who do the actual testing. Okay, they actually test the actual samples because they have the medical equipment to do so, or the scientific equipment to do hundreds of thousands of dollars equipment. I don't have that. So, and they can't do every single paternity test in the whole. They don't have the bandwidth to do it. They don't. So people like me, agency owners, we request to be distributors of their product or resellers of their product. Okay, and so we partner with them. We sign a contract or a non-contract agreement, and you start your own DNA testing company. Well, essentially, you're a middleman. As an agency owner, you're a middleman. Okay, so you go out, you advertise, you have your own business. It's not a multi-level marketing anything. It's your own thing. You do as well or as bad as you want to do, or the work you put in, and you fully advertise your services. And you can price your services as you see fit, or as you see how the market fits. You can outsource your business. You can grow it. You can scale it. You can sell your DNA testing business. You can sell it. My goal one day is, I have an exit strategy, is to sell Assurance DNA, my company, to private equity or whoever. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Collector is someone who only collects DNA samples. They usually don't own their own DNA agency. They signed up with a laboratory to kind of be on call or on standby in case a laboratory or a DNA agency middleman calls them and says, hey, I'm Mike. I'm in Southwest Houston, but I have a client that's in Oakland. I'm not going to fly to Oakland to do a paternity test. I'm going to call you, collector. How much are you going to charge me to swab the inside of somebody's cheeks and send the samples off to the laboratory for me? Oh, Mike, I'm going to charge you $45 per person. Okay, great. And you give them the information. The client goes to wherever they're at. or they go to the client if they're mobile. They swab the client. They do all the paperwork. They send it off because they already have kits on hand. They send it off to the laboratory. Lab gets it. They realize that since you created a case number and the collector put that case number on that paperwork, the lab says, oh, this is your case. Got it. Cool. Great. Awesome. Here you go. All right. So that's your outsourcing portion of it. That's what collectors are for.
So do collectors, Royal, I'm going to jump in real quick just because I want to see. So agency owner would have their own individual collectors potentially working for them as well?
Possibly. I don't have any collectors working for me per se, but I outsource collections to collectors.
So other known collectors that aren't necessarily working directly for you, but are available that you get referrals from. I can't think of the name of the company that does the certifications that you're just talking about.
Yeah. So perfect example. I'll give you a perfect example right now. Okay. And a collector also can be, I'll give you an example. I have a presence, a location, quote unquote, in Dallas, Texas. Okay. I got a call from a woman earlier who wanted a prenatal paternity test, meaning a paternity test while she's pregnant. I charge about $1,600, $1,700 for those. Okay. She puts down a 50% deposit, and I basically send her to a franchise location that does DNA collections. That's what they do. So I just say, hey, you're going to go over here. And they just go over there. And so I email the location and say, hey, this lady's coming over here tomorrow at this time with the alleged father. Is this type of test? Here's the case number. You already got kits on hand because I know you do. Can you do the test? Yep. How much are you charging? We're charging $60. They're going to charge me $60 to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So I didn't have to hire anybody. I just connected the dots.
So they're all I-9 independent contractors on their own.
Yep, pretty much. They're their own people. It's just a conversation and hey, send me the invoice because you're your own person. That's it.
I shared the invite link for this meeting with my girl Lorraine, and she's listening in here. So I just got a text message from her. So
okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's the difference. That's the big difference. If you want to, because sometimes people sign up to be collectors and they're waiting on calls. They're waiting on people. They don't ever advertise themselves. Hey, DNA agency person, or hey, lab. Hey, here I am. I'm out here. They may not get a call for 2 years, and by that time, they done gave up or forgot how to do a DNA test. But an agency owner, you are proactive. You're out there. You're in the middle of your advertising. I mean, like I said, you can build it up to however you want to build it up. Mm-hmm. And as an agency owner, you have that, and you can also be a collector. I have had people call me and say, hey, I know you're in El Paso, Texas. I'm not going to fly out there to do a paternity. Can you do one for me? How much do you charge for your collection services? $50 per person. And they paid me $100 to do a collection real quick. And I just did it on their behalf. Did the same exact thing. So yeah, it's a little bit of a difference.
So in that case, you're going either meeting somebody in your office that you've got. I noticed that you said you've got kind of a timeshare office, or you're driving out to see them in person.
Yep. They came to my office. Actually, I think my wife did that one. I think my wife did that. I didn't even do it. They came to my, quote unquote, timeshare office that I have. And they got swabbed and they were in and out in 15 minutes, and that was it. And I got paid $100 for it. So yeah, super easy stuff. I learned all this on the fly, by the way. I learned all this myself. There's not a blueprint written for this. Okay. So what do you need to start a DNA agency? All right. Entity formation, essentially. Okay. This is entity formation. So you're picking your name, you're incorporating your business, LLC, C Corp, S Corp, however you see fit, that's on you. Getting your EIN from the IRS, go to irs.gov, get your EIN. And by the way, in EIN, there is no category for like paternity testing agency. They have one like medical laboratory or like DNA relationship laboratory, but you're not a lab. So you just pick like consultant or something, because that's kind of what you are in a way. It's a weird industry. You'll set up your business bank, all that entity formation stuff. Okay. That's what you do. You, after that, or kind of in between that, during that, you buy your domain name, set up your professional email. So you're not going to be, Mike's DNA testing services at gmail.com or yahoo.com or something like that. You're going to be Houston paternity testing services. I don't know. Mike at HoustonPaternityTesting.com or something. You know what I'm saying? Something more professional. You'll set up a separate business phone line so that you'll know when people call you, that they're calling for a paternity test. So you don't just answer and be like, hey, what's up? I use OpenPhone. It's not on here. I'll edit my presentation and say OpenPhone. OpenPhone is great. I love OpenPhone. It's an app. You pay $25 per user per month on there, and you'll know they'll give you a phone number. You don't have to port your phone number over if you don't want to, and they'll give you a phone number, and you just put that on your Google business profile, and then you'll get your calls, and you'll know that it's an open phone call. Give me just a second. This is my wife texting me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna have to edit this out because I might post this publicly, so I'm gonna have to edit out. You got to edit out all the all the real life stuff. Okay, all right. So, what you're gonna do is you're also in the course. I tell you like the labs that I like to use, that I like to partner with. You're gonna contact them and apply to be a distributor of their services. Okay.
Yeah, I've got your how to make money document that I purchased the other
day. Yep. So you're going to contact that lab and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to be a reseller. There's another lab that I use. I use different labs for different reasons. DDC I use primarily, mostly for my prenatal paternity testing because they offer like the best prenatal paternity testing services, especially if they wanted to be court admissible. I use Universal Forensics from time to time because sometimes DDC is a little bit more expensive to run the test. So I use them. Like I did a DNA test on a guy with 6 kids the other day. I charged him $700, but DDC probably would have charged me $340 something to run the test. So I went with another laboratory that's a little bit smaller and they're a little bit cheaper because of that amount. You know what I'm saying? It just depends.
Helps your margin.
Yep, exactly. So you're going to sign that lab partnership agreement. You're going to set up, this is critically important, set up your Google My Business account and your Google Ads account. So Google My Business is, whenever you're Googling something, I don't know, diner near me or whatever, Home Depot near me or something, it'll pop up on Google Maps. That's what you want. You want that to pop up. You want your business to be popping up on Google Maps or Google search. And you know how it has like the reviews, you see the 5-star reviews and pictures and times and all that stuff. That is how people find you. Facebook, Instagram, not really important. Google. Because every time I ask the people who found me and they pay for me, I say, how'd you find me? Google. I Googled you and you had 15 5-star reviews and I clicked and I called you and you answered. And that's why I'm paying you $1,000 for this, whatever. All right. Excuse me. You want to set up your Square or Stripe or QuickBooks account. So that is your payment. That's how you receive your payments, and your invoices and stuff like that. That's important. I have Square and Stripe. I use Stripe as a backup, as a just in case, but I mostly use Square. They're great. I have no problems with them. And you can get a loan from Square too. They're pretty cool. Okay. So researching the competition. So here's how to conduct market research on your competition. You're going to Google paternity testing places out where you're at. All right. Most of the time, places don't just do paternity testing. They actually just do like drug testing primarily, and they'll do paternity testing on the side. All right. So you're going to call them and you're just going to ask those questions right there. Did they answer the phone first off? And then what tone did they use when they spoke to you? Were they rude? Were they nice? Were they helpful? How many Google reviews do they have? What's their average stars? What's their website look like? Now, granted, their website don't have to be the most fanciest thing in the world, but simple stuff like misspelled words and all types of crap. I mean, it's like that's not really professional. Are they open on weekends? Because a lot of places aren't open on weekends. They're closed. You know, you can make I've made thousands of dollars literally just being open on weekends, as in I'm open to receiving calls on weekends. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll do the test on the actual weekend, but sometimes I'll receive a call and then they'll pay the invoice and then that sets up for a test during the work week. You know what I mean? And I was the only DNA testing company in the entire city to be open on the weekend. All right. What lab are they using? Sometimes some of these places, not all of them, most of them use like DDC or Universal Forensics. They do. But some of these places, they'll use some kind of lab that is like not accredited and you never heard it. And they'll say, we use this lab and you can use these results in court. I have never heard of that lab and it is not AABB accredited. So no. I mean, that's like the most widely used one. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What are their prices? You know, you could call in and be like, hey, I need a paternity test for me and my son, and I want to use it for court. And they'll give you a price. You call around Price Shop. I had to do that. You got to do your research. And then how fast can they get results? You know, is it 3 to 5 days? Is it 2 weeks? You know, you will give results within it's usually like 2 to 7 business days, generally. 2 business days for informational paternity testing and like some of the legal basic ones. And then like for the prenatals, depending on what lab you use, it's 7 business days, generally. All right. How much can you charge? This is the money part. This is where everybody loves it right here, the money part. All those right there. As you can see, it ranges. And some, I mean, honestly, some of these prices are going to start going up because the labs are starting to charge the DNA agencies more because of inflation. They're starting to charge. So what happens is when you partner with a laboratory, they're going to send you a box of kits. They're going to send you a box of paternity testing kits, okay, for free up front. They don't charge you up front. But they charge you on the back end when you send in the samples to them to test. All right. So when you send it in, they'll say, all right, we got it. We're going to run your card on file. Or we got it. We're going to run your card on file when we do our billing for everybody on Wednesday or something. All right. So they may charge you $130 for a standard legal. And you can charge between, I mean, honestly, you shouldn't really be charged $300 anymore. More like $350 and $500 between that. Okay. And you keep the spread. So there you go. Non-invasive prenatal. It costs that much because it's a lot more specialized science to separate the fetal DNA from the mom's blood to do that test. So the labs have much more expensive equipment, and it just costs more for them to do it. They charge a lab, DDC charges $1,200 to do it. They charge you $1,200 to do it to do a prenatal. So, you know, you can charge between Ravgen is another one. They offer informational. They charge $950 for a prenatal, but they get you results within like 3 weeks. It takes 3 weeks. All right. Mm-hmm. So you can charge between $1,200 and $1,800. I charge, including tax, for a 7-day turnaround DDC. I charge $1,695. That's what I charge, and people pay it. You know, like I said, somebody just paid me a 50% deposit today for that, and they'll pay it. They will pay it off. They always do. All right. So those are your other testings that you can see there: grandparentage, deceased. Some people, you know, the alleged father may have died, and his body might be in the morgue. And sometimes somebody might call you and be like, "Hey, can you come to the morgue and swab samples from his body?" You know, you can charge whatever you want for that one because,
yeah,
you know,
that's a big one.
That's a big one right there. You know, you only get one chance to get that one right too. You got to swab. I haven't done it. My mom does them all the time, but you have to swab the inside of their ears. You have to clip their nails, take nail clippings. You have to take hair from the root of their head. And if you can get into their mouth, swab the inside of their mouth if they're embalmed. So yeah, you can charge $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 for that one. Because that's you actually going to do that. All right, yeah. So that's the money part of it. The biggest ones that I have gotten are the top 3. Those are the ones that people ask for the most. Top 3, right there. Standard, legal, informational, and non-invasive. prenatal. That's what people pay for the most. Every once in a while, I get a grandparentage. Every once in a while, I get a discreet. Somebody is like, I don't want him to know, so I'm gonna just take hair and nails. I'm like, look, it's not court admissible. I'm gonna send you a kit, and it's not a guarantee that there'll be enough DNA on the hair and nails. So, but here you go. I'm gonna charge you $400 something for that. Feel free. Okay, so there you go. How do you market the business? Number one, Google Ads. That's the number one way that I market. Google Ads. It gets, I link my Google Ads to my Google My Business profile, and I pay it to where it gets to the top of the search bar. Whenever they search for paternity testing near me, my business goes straight to the top, and I pay for that. And my budget right now is about, I'm paying, I think, $700 or $800 a month, but I've been averaging $7,000 to $8,000 a month in sales. You know, keeping after expenses maybe $4,000 a month in sales or so. But it's not. I'm not sweating. I'm not breaking my back to do this. So imagine if I, when I turn up those ads and increase my search engine optimization even more. Paying $1,000 a month, $2,000. That's how you market.
So advertising and marketing is about 10% right now, more or less.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, that is correct. I have to get you my return on ad spend. I think my return on ad spend is like 5x right now, or something like that. Like if I spend, no, actually it's more than that. Correction. If I spend 700, and I'm bringing in, it might be actually like 10x, 9x, 10x, or something like that. Just bringing it in. But I had to learn that. I cut my marketing budget in May because I was being cheap. And with business, stuff goes up and down. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, I can't keep paying for these Google ads. I got to put it towards something else. I cut my budget in half. Guess what? My revenue got cut in half the next month.
That'll learn you.
That'll get you. I was like, oh, I don't need to spend this much. I'm gonna cut it to $100 a month. Yeah, I made $2,000 the next month. I was pissed. I was like, whoa, that's not normal.
No.
All right. Excuse me. SEO is a big one. I hired somebody to do my search because I'm not the guy that's going to go into my website and change up words and do all write blogs and all that. I'll outsource that, man. I didn't have time for that. It is a little expensive. I had to pay him, I think, like $600 or $700 up front, and then $150 a month or something like that to do it. But it's worth it. A big thing that can help for sure is when you create your business, when you put it on Google My Business, okay, name your business, the name of your city, and paternity testing services. Okay, so originally, my name on Google My Business was Assurance DNA, and then like Assurance DNA El Paso or Assurance DNA Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was okay. That was cool. The ads, helped me get calls. I changed the names of my businesses to El Paso Paternity Testing Services, Dallas Paternity Testing Services, and North Carolina Paternity Testing Services. And my calls have doubled since then. Double. Just because you don't want to, like I said, you can legally name your business what you want to name it, but you can put onto Google the most Googleable thing in the world, the city and what people are searching for. And that has organically, without paying, doubled my calls. By the way, when it comes to operating this business, 99.99999% of the sales that you make are going to be from phone calls. They're going to call. They're not going to just go to your website and pay for a paternity test. They want to talk to somebody because they feel like they're the only person in the world going through this situation. So you're going to have to answer your phone or hire somebody to answer your phone, a virtual assistant. All right. Okay. So another way, passing out cards to attorneys, introducing yourself. Hey, I do this. Hello, family law attorney, divorce attorney. This is what I do. Some of your clients may need paternity tests. Call me. I can come to your office and do it, or they can come to my office, or I can meet them at a FedEx parking lot or whatever. All right. Social media education, getting on social media, talking about paternity testing, that helps. Go on the networking events and then wearing your own company attire. I have 2 polo shirts. My wife has a polo shirt. And whenever we go out to networking events, we'll wear our polos and be like, "Hey, we're Assurance DNA." People are like, what is that?
What sort of networking events are you attending that are kind of optimized for the business?
Yeah, we've been to the Chamber of Commerce networking events. We went to those a lot last year. And after like 3 or 4, I was just like, and I stopped going to them. And honestly, I got like more from just Google, honestly, like more sales. But that doesn't stop me from going to meet those attorneys. I at least go to the attorneys every like quarter. And I'll just say, hey, y'all, here's who I am. Check it out. This is what I do. And they'll look at me and be like, all right. And then every once in a while, I get a call from an attorney for a paternity test. So,
okay.
Yeah, those top 3 right there, those are the big ones. All right. My successes and failures. My successes and failures. All right. So earlier this year, I in the city of El Paso, you can get ads on bus stop benches. And I thought it'd be cool to see my advertising in the physical domain. And it just the return on ad spend just wasn't worth it. I mean, it did feel pretty cool to drive around the city and see, don't know if the child is yours, call Assurance DNA, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't really get any calls from that. Now, it was an awareness play, just like how you see a billboard, for an attorney or whatever. You'll see it and you're like, all right, cool. But you'd have to see it like over and over and over and over and over and over again for you to be like, oh, if I got into an accident, I'm gonna call this guy. So it just wasn't worth it. And I just put that money into Google Ads instead. I stopped it. All right. Changing my business name on Google. I just set that one. That was important. Mm-hmm. Hiring a virtual assistant. Oh my gosh. Biggest success. Huge success. I'm military. I'm full-time military. My wife works full-time. She can no longer answer the phone for me. She used to. And then she started working again. So, and especially since I'm in a bilingual city, I had to hire a virtual assistant that could handle my calls, or most of them at least. And she's bilingual. So that helps. She answers the calls, she answers the questions, she can invoice them when people want to pay for a test and they pay for it. She coordinates with collectors, or she'll put it on my calendar for me to go and do the actual test. She is a godsend. And at the moment, I mean, she's raising her fee for me at least, in October. But right now, since she's not a W-2 employee, she's a contractor, so I pay her $500 a month plus commissions. So yeah, it's been a huge success, major success.
Where'd you find the VA?
I found her just by tweeting. I just tweeted, "Hey, I need a VA that's bilingual," and there's a young lady on Twitter named Annalisa, just Annalisa, and she connected me with that virtual assistant. So I also tried to hire a virtual receptionist company. I did that for like 2 months, and it's basically, an online receptionist company, and they answer your calls. But since it's like 10 or 20 people that answer the phones, it's a knowledge gap. You know what I mean? So somebody might answer, and then 30 minutes later, another person will answer, and they may not know as much as the first person. I was like, no, I got to have one person, or at least 2 people that I train directly that can answer my calls. And that's been very successful.
So you're forwarding the phone to her?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I have the app Open Phone. And so the calls that come in from Google My Business, they ring on my phone too, and they ring on her phone at the same time. But when she's on the clock, she answers the phone, and I can see her answer it, and I can see her, having the conversation. I can see all the messages she sends to that person. It works it works perfectly.
Nice.
If she's off, because she's on Eastern time, so she gets off at around 5 p.m. Eastern time, but that's 3 p.m. for me. So I'll still be getting calls. So I can answer those calls, and I can record them and show them, hey, this is how I'm answering, so she can better herself. But she's brought in, I think I did the math. She's brought in $3,800 for me since August, or something like that. and she gets a commission as well. So yeah, huge investment. Huge investment.
You said she was 400 a month plus commissions.
She's 500 a month for now, plus commission. But yeah, like she's gonna be waiting because she's probably the only virtual assistant in America that knows how to basically run the front end of a DNA testing business, because most places don't have virtual assistants. They have like people there physically, but they don't have virtual assistants. So she's like the first one in the whole country, I think.
She's going to get into the business herself here soon.
Yeah, I think what she's going to do is she's going to expand her virtual assistant agency to specifically cater towards DNA testing companies and maybe drug testing companies in the future.
And can I ask the commission rate?
You said what?
Can I ask you the commission rate you're paying her?
Yeah, 5% for now. 5% for now. But I mean, hell, if she basically sells a $1,600 paternity test, she gets $80. I mean, that's not bad. Plus, that's not bad. And the sales are only going up. So
that's 5% of that.
Yeah, 5% on gross sales. That's what she gets. So it's only going to go up because there's no limit to the sales that I can do. I'll be at probably about $25,000, $30,000 a month next year. So, cool. All right, another fail. Advertising on podcast. I did, like I said, I tried a bunch of different advertising things. In this business, you can try a bunch of stuff. Just try it. You know what I'm saying? And it just didn't work out because you have to like consistently do that. And it just it just wasn't worth it. I might advertise the course on podcast, but probably not paternity testing on podcast. I don't know. All right. And then cutting my marketing budget. I said that already. That was a fail. Huge fail. Massive fail. Excuse me. All right. So here's a few testimonials. So in the course is a Slack group that you'll get access to. You can ask any question that you want. These are a few of my students talking about, not worrying about what the business does month to month, but rather quarter to quarter. Spending the money to get into this business. He said he spent $400 to get into this business. It doesn't cost. It costs like less than $500. So all you're doing is incorporating your business and like getting your website. So it's not hard. It's not a huge thing. And then of course, Shakari on the right, her first prenatal. She outsourced it. So, she charged $1,400 plus tax, and she probably kept about $500 of that, like just under 500 or around 500 of that, just for answering the phone and sending the email. That's not, imagine doing 25 of those a month, which is definitely possible. Definitely possible. So, all right. Here's the most important aspect of starting this business is having patience and taking action. So yeah, have patience. It's going to take some time. My first 3 months in business ever, in this business, I made $200 total in 3 months. All right. But the last 3 months of this business, I've made close to $20,000. All right. And even still, like, I have a mentor in the space who makes $25,000 a month. Now, I'm not like, oh man, this sucks. He makes more money than me. I can't. I don't have the patience for that. No, it's a hill. It's a mountain you climb. It is what it is. It takes time, but at the same time, take action or don't give up. That's another one too. Some people give up. Some people just completely give up, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna open the floor. I see Kanika here. I'm gonna allow you to talk, Kanika. I'm done with the presentation, so feel free to ask whatever question you want. I'm gonna go ahead and stop screen sharing here and start my video again whenever it wants to come back up. But yeah, feel free to ask any question you want. Go ahead.
So I have a question on scaling, since that's obviously going to be a huge part of building the business. And can you break down, I know on your pricing slide that you showed, that you said that the first 3 were the ones that were really making you the money. how do you can you like break it down by percentage of um
Their profit margin.
no more about I don't know if is it possible to back up into that slide?
Yeah, let me see it. Now my computer is absolutely, it went bonkers on me just now, so I don't know what's going on. I see you were asking the types of tests that people want at scale. Is that what you're, I can go off the top of my head.
Well, more about the type of testing and how much of a percentage of the overall testing that particular type of test occupies or
Oh,
is
oh,
responsible.
overall for my entire business. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, gotcha. For me, 60% of my business is the prenatal paternity test. That's 60% of my revenue.
I'm
So the
sorry, is
test
which
that
one?
costs the prenatal paternity test, the pregnancy
Prenatal.
paternity test,
Interesting. Okay.
that constitutes about 60% of my revenue.
Okay.
The ones that you can charge between, 13, 1400, 1800 bucks for. That's the most in demand. And especially with, I don't want to get into politics, but the overturning of Roe v. Wade, definitely, people want to get those paternity tests while they're pregnant as early as possible.
Okay. And then the
Going to
remainder?
make a decision. You said what?
And then the remaining 40%, how do you split that up?
The remaining 40% is a mix between the admissible test and then the informational test. The informational test, people either I send them a kit and they swab themselves and they send it into the laboratory, so I never see them, or they'll come in. And so I charge $199 plus tax and shipping for the kit, and I charge $299 plus tax if they want to come in and do an informational test, meaning there is no paperwork being done, there is no chain of custody, there is no taking their pictures, none of that stuff. They just come in, get swabbed, I send it out. I just do it all for them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other 40%. With a couple of like grandparentage test or like an avuncular test, which is like, aunt, uncle, or like a siblingship, like sprinkled in there, like maybe once a month or every 2 months, maybe.
So figure 5% or under for that. For the other
Yeah,
ones that
about
are
5%
outliers.
under. Yeah, now granted, every market is different. Every market is different. So my mom, she's in Atlanta. She does mostly legal, just the regular legal test and deceased cases. She does a lot of deceased for some reason. Father passed away in a car crash. They need to determine who they're giving benefits to. They need to do a legal paternity test. Deceased. And she'll either go into the morgue or she'll get the samples from the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or the morgue, and they'll send it off to the lab. And she just coordinates that, and she charges $1,300-$1,400 a pop for those.
Okay.
Yeah. So hers, it just depends on your market. My market, a lot of prenatals in my market. So yeah, some markets are more. They can do a paternity test in jail. It all just depends.
Yeah. So how competitive is the SEO space? Trying to promote up into the.
It is. I would say it's pretty competitive because there are some legacy labs or paternity testing companies that just been on the internet for 15 years. So you're competing with them. So the SEO is more competitive. The ad space, not so much. You do your ads and you pop up. There you go. You just have to be consistent with it. But I'm telling you, me changing the name of my business on Google, I don't know what I'm telling you. It just did something. It just shot me up to the top of the ranks. Like, a lot of people, their Google My Business also is not optimized. It's not SEO optimized. You can SEO that too, by the way. So a lot of their Google My Business pages are just like regular pages. They haven't updated in years. They haven't did any new posts or anything of that nature. So yeah, that as well. That was important.
All right, and then average market.